Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to another episode of Beautiful I Am Colored. I am so honored that you have returned to hear more of insights and perspectives that I've gleaned throughout my week. As promised last week, I noted that we would start a new series pretty much for the entire month of September, the end of August to September, and have Marlon Barnes back on the show. For those of you who do not know, Marlon Barnes is my spouse of 26 years, and we are in a new season of life, empty nester season. Although one of the kids may be coming back, but that's neither here nor there. That's for another show topic. And so today he is here with me and has offered up his time. So we're going to dive right into the conversation in just a second. But just want to let you know that if you're interested in learning more about me and, this podcast and what I bring to the table, you can follow me on Instagram at Beautiful I Am Colored as the username or handle. In addition, you can follow me on my website, which is beautifuliamcolored.com, where you can also consider purchasing a copy of my book by that same title, as well as the ebook version if you're so inclined to do so. Without further ado, I want to get started each week, of course, by just framing and the show and grounding us in a moment of thankfulness. So I want to cascade into the shout outs and thank yous for this week. This week for me, one of the things that I am thankful for is the opportunity to be back out and about. It's been really nice. I've had the opportunity to go to a couple of events, community, as well as galas and the like. And so it's been really nice to see people who I haven't seen pretty much for almost 2.5 years now. That's been really nice, and I'm so thankful that a lot of people are still here, still with us, that I'm still here, and that I can engage at that level. With that being said, I hope that you consider what you're grateful for as you start your week this week. And remember to start each day at least with just a moment of thanks, even if it's just waking up, even if it's just that you have breath and you're breathing on your own, even if it's you have your limbs that are working and functioning properly. There's always something that you can be thankful for in the midst of everything. Marlon, want to shift to you.
Thank you. I'm trying to get this ball out. There's some noise in the back. I'm sitting on this ball. Mm-hmm. And I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Sound effects.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm wondering if you have anything like this week. It doesn't have to be a person. It doesn't have to be a thing. It could be an ideal.
That I'm thankful for?
Mm-hmm.
Man. Yeah. Well, I'm thankful for everything, of course, but I don't know if I got any particular person. It's going to sound corny when I say I'm thankful for you or whatever, but I am. Just to have a partner in life with work and life and everything that happens, it gets stressful. So it's great to have somebody that I can at least talk to. Of course, I got friends and other people outside of that, but it's cool to have somebody to talk to that gets it. So I'm thankful for you.
That was an easy one and an easy out. But
I did
put you on the spot. You weren't expected to talk about something
it's
that
the
you're
truth,
thankful
though.
for.
You calling it easy out, but it's the truth.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for sparing me your time on a Sunday when you have a lot to do, I know, for work and preparing and cutting the yard and all that. So thank you for being here. Okay, so we're not going to delay. I wanted to cascade this conversation and talking about empty nesting. So for those of you who do not know or maybe new listeners, we have entered into a new season of life to where we are living just the two of us for the first time ever. We have not had the pleasure or the experience of living together before we were married. So this is a very new development for Marlon and I. And a frequent question that we get from our friends and whomever when they find out that we're empty nesters is, do we miss the kids? And our response is,
nope. I love my children. I do. I really, really love my children. But, I think it's, man, people don't, man, no, I don't. I don't. Like, when we were young and we was carrying around, mostly you, but even with me, we'd be out and stuff carrying around 4 children. I don't think people understand how tough that was during that time. We were very young, like very, very young. I know old school, like our parents and stuff, that wasn't young. Mm-hmm. But for nowadays, it was really young. And I think that we jumped right into it. And I know for myself, I never took any time to process the magnitude of that. And so having them not here and having us at this point, to me, it's like a whole new thing, like a whole new journey. And that's really why I don't miss them. I don't mean it like I don't miss them like that, but I think we need this time too. And, obviously as they're coming into their adulthood, and then we're coming into like these years where a lot of people start getting divorced and stuff. Mm-hmm. I kind of like relish in the opportunity to have this time. So I don't miss. I don't know.
Yeah. I hope this doesn't come across as sounding unmotherly, but I don't either.
It sounds bad.
It sounds so bad.
Like, what's wrong with these folks?
What's wrong with them? But I mean, I don't. I didn't have like the angdangs that some mothers have when the last one or the first one leaves the nest, or like I didn't have that. And I think a lot of the reason why, and I realize that Marlon and I are anomalies in this arena, in terms of family dynamic, because we been together since we were teens ourselves. And so for me, no, like it was a lot of work for a lot of years. And it was different kind of work. And frankly, a lot of it was exhausting. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it and keep it real. And I shout out to all the moms, first of all, who you live, breathe, and die for your children. I am just of the mindset that at the end of the day, I'm going to be left with the person that I married after the kids are gone. And so for me, it was very important to try to put a lot of energy and effort into creating us and who we are becoming, than put all of that into the kids. Now, on the downside of that, I will say that I do feel like sometimes the kids may feel a little bit left out, because we do each other well most times. But I don't really miss like reminding people to take out the trash, make up beds.
Yeah.
Like clean up after yourself. Like
all those things.
All of those. Like I just, no, I don't. And God knows I love all of my children. I have different relationships with each one of them, because of course they're all individuals, and so I treat them accordingly. But no, I don't miss them like being in the house and stuff like that. Of course I miss their personalities, and of course because the girls are out of state, I definitely miss being able to see them. But as far as living in the house with us, that'll be a strong no for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I miss them. Definitely miss our grandson. Like there's definitely that side of things. But I also want to mention that it's very important to note, and I think we've even shared this with our children, that, man, it's just hard for me to process, like not leaving the house, because we left so early. Like, I think the first time I left home, I was 18 years old, and I just jumped on a Greyhound with a bag, you know what I mean? Like a couple of bags. And, I came back later. We came back to Memphis for a little while, but I really don't understand being at home, like with my parents and stuff like that. So you have that aspect of it. And then you have the aspect of us being early parents, that combination, I think, may not lend itself to kind of the traditional, like, just everybody's here and I want everybody here. And so I think it's important for people to understand that as well, because depending on your own experience, you may feel like that's a little callous. And those I think who know us really well know that's not the case. But you also have to know the whole story. And I think that how early we got started, and then also just how aggressively we like launched from our parents covering with our early marriage, I think kind of set kind of a precedence in how we look at things and how we go about things. And I think that's important to consider. And so I do want to provide that additional context for anybody who's hearing this, because those things were true. But, in the end, I'm really excited about not having anybody here. I'm kind of enjoying myself, walking around and not worrying about, doors being closed and am I 100% covered up and all that type stuff. Like, God. Yeah, like I mean, who don't want to walk around the place? Who don't want to get a chance to walk around the way you want to walk around and all that type of stuff?
Oh my God!
So
for those of you who do not know, I don't know why this is a thing, and y'all will have to let me know. Like, for real, like, text me or send me an email, beautiful.iamcolored@gmail.com. But is this really a thing? Like, when people get empty nesters, like, one of the first things you think about is walking around the house bare? Like, is that really a thing?
Every dude I know that I talk to, that's the first thing coming out of their mouth when they laugh and joke about having being empty nesters.
I had to say, it's not that it hasn't.
You don't think about it? I thought about it all these years, and I'm like, yeah, I get to come out the shower, and it's like, if you don't close the door in time, it's okay.
I will be honest with you. I didn't think about it. That was not the first thing that came to my mind. What? No, that is not the first thing. Right. But have I enjoyed levels of freedom that I have not? Yes. But it wasn't something that I thought about, like, deeply and stuff like that. But apparently that is a thing or a theme when you empty out the house, is that you start doing that. Although some of my friends, they've been pretty free, and they were doing that while the kids were already at the house.
God bless them.
Shout out to all of the people who are fully free like that.
I know. God bless them.
I have a few minutes left before we end this segment this week on the podcast, and I want to touch on, and this will lead us into next week, how do you feel like we've changed? Like, since, because it is a very new thing. Like, we're experiencing it right now. So it's not like it's so long ago that we transitioned to this newfound space of not having the children in the home anymore. So how do you feel like we've changed, or you've changed?
I think that I don't think I want to go out as much.
Like, you mean like literally go out? Like,
yeah, I think the part of our date nights and stuff like that was like kind of to get away from, not only the work week or whatever, but also to get away from, whatever was going on in the house in order to have time for us. And now that there's no one here, it's easier to just, I make dinner or something like that, or sit on the patio and not necessarily feel like, I know that it's cool to be out, so I'm not saying it like that, but I'm saying I think that part has changed where I don't feel as much, I wouldn't say pressure, but I just don't feel like I need to be out of the house as much in order to create time with you, uninterrupted time. Because typically, the children will always need something from one of us.
Right.
So not only were we getting away from the dynamics of phone ring and then trying to get away from the work week, but we're also trying to get, just kind of step away from just the overall, expectations of a parent that children have. And so for me, that part has changed where I don't feel like I want to like be out as much. I'm cool with just like, I'll cook something or whatever, and just it's easier to get into that space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I definitely have lost the feeling of wanting to go out, as far as like, especially restaurants. Mm-hmm. We've had this conversation, and I'm not going to belabor it. Privately, of course, Marlon and I, we've had this conversation, and that is, right now, we can, between the two of us, we can cook and make drinks better than almost anywhere that we can go. Almost. There are a few exceptions.
Yeah, almost. There's a
and
couple
so,
exceptions.
And so I agree. We love spending patio time. Like, there's really like nothing that we can't do here at the house. That yeah, we would need to go out for. So I totally and completely agree with you in that stance, from that standpoint. And wrapping up here, I want to say that one of the things that we did, and I did touch on this a couple of weeks back now, I think. I didn't go into detail about it, but I did let you know that, Marlon and I had gone through about a month, 6 weeks, something like that, of counseling, really as a form of maintenance, because we have never lived together without children. And so, as you all know, I'm an advocate for therapy, and one of the ways in which therapy can be used is from a maintenance standpoint. In other words, being proactive and approaching something before you get into, weird dynamics within the relationship. So next week we'll pick back up and talk a little bit about that. But I want to just say thank you so much to Marlon for being here this week. Short and sweet. And I thank you all too for your feedback, your continued support. And we will be back again next week. In the meantime, I hope that you consider following me on Instagram at Beautiful I Am Colored. Or you can contact me via email, beautiful.iamcolored@gmail.com, and or on my website by that same title. Until next week, beautiful, remember, the future you is waiting on you. And thank you so much to my guest this week, Marlon Barnes. Have a great week, everyone.